what I'm going to be teaching or not teaching after Christmas break. So I don't even know if anybody's going to join. 4:05 my time. Okay. So let's see what they start off with. Actually, let's look at this introduction. This is not a Christian curriculum at all. I mean, not that there's any difference. Let's read this. Scientists ask questions. Many of their questions begin with what if or I wonder. All right, so I'm going over what I'm going to be teaching or not teaching, obviously, after Christmas break. On a walk. Okay, one day a little boy named Richard Feynman started to wonder. Okay, these are good. I can lead off with these, right? So I like that. Okay. Feynman observed that each time he pulled the wagon forward, the ball would move to back. He asked his father why this happened. Inertia. Okay, well, that's true there. Okay, in truth, no one really knows. Oh, that's funny. That's good. I like that. At least that's a little truthful. He wondered about inertia. Eventually, Richard Feynman grew up to be a scientist. He helped find answers to questions about inertia and other scientific phenomenon. All right. All right, so that was a dumb introduction. Okay, what is a constellation? I think they should get this right? All scientists look for patterns. Patterns, yeah. Predictions, okay. And they make tables and graphs. Ancient explorers and astronomers or scientists who studied space. I might change that wording. Notice patterns in the stars. These patterns helped them understand seasons, yes, and make predictions about their lives. Okay, sometimes. Over time, yes, these patterns became known as constellations. Constellations, okay. Constellations can take shapes of people, animals, mythical creatures, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I don't even know if some of my children have seen this because it's bright around here and I just even wonder. So here's where I can probably add a little more. After scientists find patterns, they look for causes and effects. Like my other video stated. Most scientists write in cause and effects in the form if then. Okay. So we might use this as observation with our own eyes. Okay. A hypothesis is a proposed explanation for an event, and the hypothesis, the cause or if, comes from first, and the effect then follows. If you look at the Big Dipper, then you can find the North Star. Okay, good enough. This cause and effect relationship makes the Big Dipper a useful navigational tool. Polaris is an important star because the axis of the Earth is always pointed directly on it. So here I'm going to mention, I'm going to say stars move around. I'm putting this in layman's terms for my children. The North Star. Okay. I'm going to change that. It is an important line. But we have to understand the Earth isn't moving. These stars, and maybe I can find a good video on it. Everything else revolves around, however they do revolve. They revolve around the North Star. So I'll have to add that. I'm only adding things and leaving it there because I want them just to think. These are breadcrumbs, remember? So really, they could have said a lot more, actually. And they have this awesome picture of... Now, there's a few theories on what this is. And since I do work at a Catholic school, I think I could mention something about Revelation, because that's one theory about this scarring. The other theory, the keys to the truth has, is that this is part of the tree of life, the huge giant tree. And I might have to rewatch his video before I touch on that. So he's thinking this is part of that. Okay. I'm going to ask, I'm going to talk about them. Can we really tell these things? All right. So really, look, they didn't label this. So here's Earth, supposedly, right? Which we know it's not. Okay. I'm gonna have to mention to them, well, like the moon's here. It's not here. You know what I'm saying. Oh yeah, the Coriolis effect. Yes, you're right. I haven't looked into that too much yet. Okay, let's see what they say here. Galaxy is a large group of stars, planets. I'm gonna have to. I can't. See, this is the thing, and I don't care what the kids bring home. I can't teach this, so I'm gonna talk about buoyancy. I spelled that wrong. It contains, along with many other stars and planets. I'm going to have to touch on the Bible again here. Planets are named after gods. Biblical references. And like I said, I'm in a Catholic school, so I can do that. Oh, about the blood of Jesus. So this is wrong. So I'm going to have to explain this based on the biblical narrative, I guess, or other narratives that we know are closer to the truth than this. Excuse me. Okay. Figuring this problem out is difficult. One way that scientists answer similar questions is by using cross-cutting concept called scale, proportion, and quantity. This cross-cutting concept concerns the size of things. And I'm just going to touch on here for them that we cannot tell the size of something so macro by simple math. It's impossible. And I'm going to go back to that this is all hypothesis. And they really say it here. They give the point here. They intro it with hypothesis because this is all that is for them. It's finding patterns and guessing and proposing hypothesis. But what did it say at the beginning? What is inertia? So they're actually leading up to the truth and they don't even know it. This is about inertia, but we could say this about all this. In truth, no one really knows. They're telling you right here, whether they know it or not, that no one really knows. It's hypothesis. No one really knows. Well, we do know. We can know. Okay, no one really knows. So they let up with that. Okay, sorry for my voice. I talk all day. So map scales help us calculate the size of states. Okay, this is null and void. It doesn't matter. This is completely different than finding the size of planets. So I might touch on that too. We can even see the distance. Okay. We can see the distance. So talk about that. We can see a point of horizon, right? Okay. The scale of the Milky Way is much, much larger. It's about 100 light year is the distance that light travels in 1 year. Nope. Okay. Finding quantities at this scale requires scientists to use proportion. First, scientists calculate the mass. You can't do that. Then they figure out the proportion. You can't do that either. So I'm going to mention stars in the Bible because you cannot calculate a mass of a spiritual being or spiritual entity. I don't care what they say. The kids can take this home. We don't know. We don't know how many stars really are up there. We don't know. So I'm going to probably focus on, this is all hypothesis, that we don't really know because the paper itself had given those clues. Solar system. Why is it called a system? A system is a set of connected parts that work together. The solar system includes the sun and all things that orbit around it due to its strong gravity. I know, millions and billions and quadrillions. I know. I'm gonna actually just give them the background of these words and where they came from. Oh geez, pseudo, yeah, better you than me. I'm not a math person. I understand math, but I do not. It's not my stronger point. Words and language are more my strong point. But go for it, yeah. See if we can figure some out. Here we go. So I'll get to that in a second. Strong gravity. I'm gonna have to think of how I'm gonna describe gravity because it's not true. This means planets and moons, blah, 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 blah. Objects are all connected by the sun. So I'm actually, since they mentioned the Latin here, I'm going to mention sun worship. They make the solar system. Okay. For this reason, scientists use models to show the systems, or like models are smaller representations of scientific phenomenon. For example, the solar system is too large to study directly all at once. So models, excuse me, models. So again, we're just using hypothesis based on micro measurements. Models are smaller representations, right? Okay. However, scientists often split models with, okay. So, yeah, that's silly. The solar system also includes this isn't this. Okay, no, it doesn't. I'm going to have to make a Bible reference about creation because that's not what we were told originally. Right, solar, yep, lure the soul to idolatry. Focusing, you're right, Jess, thank you. Focusing on the specific parts of excuse me, I'm mumbling. Focusing on the specific parts of the solar system allows scientists to study them more closely. Systems and system models are very important. Huh? Yeah. LOL. Okay. So let's okay. It's funny how they're also focusing on the constellations because the constellations can show us a lot from our vantage point of what's going on and how it relates to us. So they keep going back to these constellations, and I could say how God uses these, like it said, for seasons and things. How have you ever looked at the sky and noticed your favorite constellation was gone? You ask yourself, where did Orion go? Some stars' positions are constant in the night sky, like Polaris. I'm going to go on that. Constant. Well, if the Earth is spinning and we're moving, you can't be constant. Now, I do have a question. I've seen that model where they're saying that the Earth, as it's rotating, is moving forward also with the sun, but I don't know where that model came from because I was never taught that. Galaxies aren't moving. So that's false anyways, but that doesn't even make sense. So because it doesn't make sense for the FE model either. Because Earth orbits around the sun, the stars seem to change location as the planet moves. I just might even take that out. During the summer in the northern hemisphere, you can't see the Orion constellation because it appears when the sun is out. It doesn't appear at night because the Earth tilts differently on its axis than it does in the winter. If the stars never change, then the constellations wouldn't change. Okay, so they're telling you, right? That's what I'm saying, pseudo. I don't even know where that model came from. I don't remember learning that as a child. I learned about, the axis and rotation of the earth or blah blah blah. But I guess that's the theory of the ever expanding universe, maybe. It's null and void. I'm not going to use it probably. Right. How does something follow something? Yeah. I know. At millions of miles per hour, light years. I don't know. Okay. If the stars never changed, then the constellations wouldn't change. They're kind of giving you truth without telling you again. So I'm going to reword this. Okay, so let's make this true because it is true. They're saying if. There's no if. So we can go back to the if and then. This might be even too deep for my students. I'm going to really have to think this through. They reset themselves and start over. Okay. If the stars never changed. So they're telling us if, but we can say the stars never changed. The constellations wouldn't change, but that's not true because the constellations change because this is moving somehow. They travel in their own separate orbits through the Milky Way galaxy. Maybe that is what they're referring to, the Milky Way galaxy. They're moving through the Milky Way galaxy. The stars move. They're so far away that it takes a long time for our motion to see them visible to us. No. Scientists, I might skip that. Scientists always analyze systems for stability and change. Some systems seem stable, like the solar system, over a long period of time. However, the solar system will change. This reason, stability and change are often observed for hundreds or even thousands of years. However, I have to read that again. However, the solar system will change. For this reason, stability and change are often observed. Okay. What do you mean, Jess? If every 10 years or so stars reset? Reset how? Brightness or position? Hi, Barstep. Nice to see you. Yeah, you'll have to explain that, Jess. Maybe in the comments, can you explain that? And tag what part of the live that was? Hey, Super Sidewinder. Okay, so this could be true because I would say the farther, like I said this morning or yesterday, the farther we go back, the more accurate things may be. So I might mention ancient or whatever that may be observations. I might mention something about that. I hope this goes over well. Okay. I'm going to skip that because it's completely and I'm going to go to the Bible. Excuse me. Oh, structure. Okay. I'm going to have to go to the Bible for this one because I'm not teaching that. Okay. Now this is the propaganda part, right? This is where they want us to think certain things and then say, if you don't do what we tell you, you're going to suffer. All stars release energy. Well, is that right? They could. They could. Some release more energy than others. The difference in energy between stars relates to the difference in temperature. But the sun is not a star. It is a light. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to the Bible on these things. Maybe that's first. I don't know. That's chapter 2. Whatever chapter it is. The more energy the star will, okay, blah, 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 blah. But it's true. I'm going to tell them the health benefits of the sun, not this. If you use sunscreen, if you don't stay in the sun enough, you will end up like this. This summer, I was out in the sun almost every day. I sat in my backyard or we were just out, and I never put sunscreen on. I never burned. You won't burn if you're in the sun, and it does give you energy. Okay, so I'm going to mention that. No, I'm not going to mention that. No, I'm not going to tell the kids don't use sunscreen or whatever. I'm just saying, um, I'm not going to be that bold. I'm not going to be that bold with a lot of this stuff. Like I said, it's going to be breadcrumbs. I'm probably going to go by the biblical creation references a lot. So, okay. When the sun shines, it emits energy called visible light in form of waves. That could be true. I think we can sense that. However, the sun also no, 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 no. Okay. So I could say actually this causes a chemical reaction. And that's why you get burned. Okay. And no, of course not. It's funny that they end on a negative note. I don't want this video to be too long because I gotta go home. And my drive is like 40 minutes in the afternoon. They end on a negative note. So let's review. And when I teach, I only teach a page at a time. So I'll have to go back and kind of put in more notes. I'm just scanning this and seeing what's in here. So let's see where the truth is in this. The sun opens the horizon, the scan which releases the sunscreen to the pores. Yeah, you're right. Yep, exactly, Jess. Right. Okay. So summary of how they've told the truth without telling the truth. So they're talking about something out of context, inertia, but they're kind of hinting, they want you to know that things are moving. They want you to think planets are moving, right? So they're giving you this little hint, like this is how we want you to start thinking. Thanks, Mr. Super Sidewinder. Thanks. Okay, so, and like I said, they're telling us the truth right here in the introduction. Feynman spent years wondering. So they actually are saying you should wonder about these phenomena. What do you wonder about? So that's a good lead, actually. Okay. So they're leading us off in questioning, but they're trying to tell us in a passive aggressive way about inertia to think about everything that they want you to think is moving when it's not. Okay. They also give us some truth about ancient explorers and astronomers. This part is probably the most accurate. So this is still relevant to us, mostly. This is relevant. It's also funny that they give a lot of information on just the North Star. And like I said, they give us this beautiful picture of this. So they kind of want you to think about the Milky Way this way. And that's why they give you a bright, colorful picture. But at the same time, it's interesting that it's a focus. But let's refocus, right? It's not this. So then, of course, they give you just as big of a picture of planets, which they all have rings. I don't know. They all have rings. So these are actually false depictions, besides Earth, of the planets. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. Is that Uranus, Mars? I don't remember. Hey, Tony. Neptune, Saturn. Or is that Uranus? I don't know. Pluto. Wait, I don't know. Who cares? But I will mention the old Greek names. What did you say, pseudo? Oh, oh yeah, you're right. You're not dampening the mood. It's okay. You're not dampening the mood. um, so like I said, sorry, I got distracted. They're giving us hints of truth, but they want us to try to focus on these things as it's put. But as I always say, you can't look at the words in the black and white on paper. That doesn't make sense. That's why I want them to, where did I write it? Observation with our own eyes. I want them to I want my children to focus on hypothesis, if and then. They have to make their own conclusions. These are all proposed explanations. Okay, same with gravity and the size of things. These are all speculations. These are hypotheses. These are guesses. And like I said, there's so much so that they have to use models constantly. But models are only useful when you know exactly what you're working with, right? Like architects. Again, I'm going to go back to the ancient observations. And like I said, they keep focusing on these constellations. So we're going to focus more on that. I do love this, but I'm going to have to really think on this. If the stars never changed. So they're telling you if, but we can think they don't. Or like you said, Jess, if they do, it's kind of like a reset. There's another reason. So they're saying they never change, but they do. And I think they know they do, just not the way, of course, that they present it. Certain models are only good for certain things, like when it comes to gravity, you can only hold 2 models, right? In the figure, any more than that, it corrupts. Yeah. Oh, good. Thank you, Jess, for that. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this. Hey, Johnny, I'm almost done. I didn't think I'd go this long. Like I said, I'm going to reference this from the Bible, since we know what the heavenly beings are, or we have more of an idea than this bullcrap. Okay, and then of course, like I said, they end on a fear mongering note, which I hate. So I'm gonna end on a positive. I'm gonna make sure this is on a positive note for this, because everything gives us for health and life. He would not make the sun for our detriment. Coriolis is behind much of this trick. It's called me as you speak. Okay. Yeah, do that, pseudo. I haven't looked. I don't have time to look into that, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I'm sorry I'm not very eloquent at this moment. When you teach all day and you have to be eloquent, I kind of am at a loss for words at the end of the day. So I'm going to stop here. Thanks for joining my little relearning class. And yeah, I'll update you on how it goes. And I'll update you on which ones I did get to share. Yeah, so I'm just a simple person. I don't feel I'm that smart to really completely present this, but I can present the truth, and I can tell. I can tell the motivations for and their end goals for this. So, sun is annoyed, the moon is. Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yep. And our earth produces that electricity. We produce electricity too. All right. Well, how does this North Star allow you to find direction? Yeah, my kids wouldn't know anything about that. It's because it doesn't move. So I could say that. It's stable. I'm going to use their words. It's stable in its position. Static. I could say static. My kids we were studying homographs. So static, they know static electricity, but they don't know about static being kept in one position. So I might mention that. Okay. Thanks, guys. Blessings.